everyone. Welcome to Donna's Happy Hour. Today I have Rick Barth joining me. Rick is a singer, songwriter, musician that I was fortunate enough to meet this summer at the New Jersey State Fair in Sussex County, New Jersey. Rick already has 2 albums out. His first one was Hand Me Down Soul, and his second one was Fade. And he's getting ready to go back into the studio in June and has actually enough songs to do 4 more albums. So grab your drinks, whatever they may be, because I'm hoping you'll spend the next hour with me.
So my name is Rick Barth, and I'm from New Jersey, and I'm going to play some songs for you today, and here with Donna, and I'm looking very much forward to hoping that you'll enjoy them. This first one's called Any More to Me, and it was my attempt at a country song, or a country-ish song. A huge influence of mine is Ryan Adams, and this was my attempt to try to sound as close to him as I could. Hopefully I achieved that. Any More to Me. Tried more than once to get things in line. We knew we'd have to try at least one more time. So hold your head up. We gave it our best try. But it's time we faced it. It's no secret, you see. Probably right where that is from the album Fade. Came out in 2019.
Rick, thank you so much for joining me. I have been so excited for this day. I met Rick back in July, I believe it was, or August, at the New Jersey State Fair in Sussex County, New Jersey. And I was so impressed with him. I have to tell you, I love your songwriting.
Oh, thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
And he makes fun of his songwriting. But he says, I only write sad songs.
That's it.
But you know what? it's what moves you, and that's okay. You know, it doesn't. Every song doesn't have to be a happy song.
Right.
Some of the actually, I think probably some of the most memorable songs are not happy songs, you know.
That's right. Well, and I've tried writing happy songs. And
Right.
when I do, they just sound trite or like not connecting with me very much.
Well, see, that's the thing, because you're it's coming from you emotionally.
That's right.
That's what you're drawing on, and that's what makes a good song. So whether it be happy or sad, as long as you're drawing on that, that's really the ultimate goal.
I mean, and it's funny because, you know, like I said earlier, people, my wife hears these songs and she says, you know, are you really that unhappy? And it's like, no, I'm a happy person, you know. And people ask me at shows, they're like, how could you write, you know, don't you write happy stuff?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm not unhappy, and it's, you know, usually triggered from a memory that I'll write to.
Exactly.
And then I'll expand on it, and I'll try to make a song from that.
Well, it's funny because, you know, Rick has been married 30 years, obviously pretty successful. Consecutively, yeah. That's, I mean, honestly, I've always wondered how people in the music industry, or even, you know, actors and actresses, how they keep a marriage together.
Gig 4 nights a week.
You know.
You're never at home, she can't throw you out.
Well, that's true. But it's hard, you know. And I'm talking about now, you're not touring.
No. Just
so that makes it a little easier, right? That makes it a little easier.
I'm home every night.
You know, right.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about the people that toured 300 days out of the year. You know, that has to get kind of tired after a while.
I would think so. That you just wouldn't want to be out all the time. And then when you're home, you know, half the time you're thinking of going out the next time.
Right. Well, and you never stop, like, creating, you know, so even when you are, like you said, when you're home, you're working, you know, because it's a fun job, you know, because it's something you like to do, but it's still work, you know.
I always looked at it as I get paid to sit, drink beer, and play guitar. It's not a bad job.
It's not a bad job.
It's not my only job, but it's not a hard job at all.
It's a pretty good gig, as they say. Well, so let me find out, because this is my very first time with you on the show. How old were you when you started playing guitar?
I was 15 when I started.
Okay.
13 when I first picked it up.
Okay.
And I couldn't make certain chords, and I said, that's it, I'm out. I'm not going to do this. So another couple of years went by, and started playing, and I've been playing ever since.
Wow.
It's been going on 35 years.
Okay.
Something like
All
that.
right. And were you influenced by anybody in your family?
Well, surprisingly, everybody in the family, for the most part, played.
Okay.
Grandfathers, uncles, my mother, sister plays. But they all kind of took it to a point. It was more, and I don't want to say what I do is professional, per se.
Right.
But they did it for fun, you know, backyard barbecues and around the house and things like that. I think I'm the only one that really took it to the level of writing my own stuff, and releasing albums, and playing out and doing that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But it was always around in the house.
Okay.
You know, my father was a singer. So
I was going to ask you.
I kind of got that from him, I guess. If I had to pick one thing to take from him, I guess that would be the one. But I've always grew up around music. It was always in the house. So
Right.
It was inevitable.
You know, it is funny, because I always ask that, because I find it very interesting when, let's say, somebody had nobody in the house influencing their, whether it be piano or guitar or whatever. But 9 out of 10 times there was an influence, you know.
Not even just having an instrument around, and there always was, but it was. I just have heard music as far back as I can remember.
Right. Yeah. No, one of the things that in my household now, my father had a beautiful voice, and my brother got that. I didn't get that. But my father's side also were very good dancers. I got that part.
I don't have that part in my body.
So I grew up with, like I said, I was a dancer, and so I grew up with music And then again, my father and my brother, you know, and my brother went into actually, you know, playing a lot of gigs and singing. He had a great solo career for a while there. And he had a lot of opportunities to work with a lot of famous people. And he turned them down. He just didn't want the fame, which, you know.
I'm sure it's a dark side to it that you don't.
Well, I'm sure there is. Yeah, there's got to be. Let me ask you this. Now, were you ever with a group?
Well, I did the requisite cover band thing in high school, and we played doing, you know, heavy metal and hard rock and stuff.
Right.
And I played through cover bands through the 90s and all that, and then fell into an acoustic duo with a friend of mine, Cliff.
Okay.
We did that for 10 years.
Oh,
and that was really
wow.
where I kind of learned how to do what I do.
Okay.
You know, sing and play to an audience and all that.
Right.
And then he went out on his own, and I decided to keep doing it. So I've been doing acoustic solo stuff now for about 10 years on my own.
Okay.
And then got into starting to write songs, and I actually have my own original band called The Line.
Oh,
which,
okay.
All we play is original stuff.
Okay.
And we'll be doing an album probably in June. We had planned to do it, you know,
Oh, really?
in the last year and a half, but you know, everything changed.
Right,
So
yeah.
we're talking about getting together to record it in June.
Oh,
and
wow.
hopefully put it out by the end of the year.
Well, then I need to get you and the band on.
It'd be fun.
Because I did not know that you, you know.
Yeah.
And that's something that's very interesting. I notice with a lot of artists now, they usually have their solo career and they have a band that they seem to work with.
Yeah. Well, I always kind of look at it when I'm writing. I have the acoustic solo-y stuff, and I have the stuff that's for the band.
Right.
And the nice thing is I can kind of convert one to the other, and I can play the band stuff solo and the solo stuff with the band.
Right.
But it is definitely a two-path kind of,
Two-path.
and I like that I have that ability to do the rock stuff and the acoustic stuff.
Yes, yeah. I think that it's, you know, and the other thing that I noticed too is a lot of the artists, they may have, let's say, a band that they play with, but that doesn't mean that it's set in stone. Like is that true?
Yeah,
that does seem to be.
I always kind of dug bands like the Heartbreakers, even though they were the Heartbreakers.
Right.
You know, the drummer left, it's still the Heartbreakers. You know, the keyboard player came in, still the Heartbreakers.
Right.
So that's why it's The Line. It's Rick Barth and The Line. This way it's, you know, I play with the people I want to play with, and the guys in the band are amazing. And that's why I wanted them.
Right.
But they are totally free to do their own primary stuff.
Right.
You know, and I encourage them to do that. I want them to go out and do that. But no show. In fact, when we did the Battle of the Bands a couple years ago, the bass player, who's a really good friend of mine, Ralph, couldn't do it.
Oh, wow.
So I got a friend to come in and do it.
Right.
But we were still The Line.
Right,
You know, So it's very important that.
I think there's got to be flexibility because one of the things that I see, and I'm not even just talking with bands, I'm talking anything that takes, let's say, having several people involved. You're kind of at the mercy of those other people.
That's right.
You know, people have lives, things happen, and unfortunately, it can affect your final end. And that's why I wondered if a lot of artists tend to have tried to do the band thing. And of course, you lose band members, they come and they go. And then of course, it's like starting all over again. So somebody's got to learn everything. So do you find that, of course, having a solo career, it's much easier because all you have to do is depend on yourself?
Yeah, that's the primary reason why I do a lot of it by myself.
Right.
Because then the only person that I really have to check with as far as availability is myself.
Right.
And I can play the songs I want, how I want, when.
Right.
You know, with a band, there are certain songs, a few of them I did today, that they don't like to play. The few guys are like, nah, it really doesn't hit for us. And I won't force them to do it, because then it'll show in the playing.
Right.
So yeah, to do it by myself kind of gives me the freedom to just do what I want, how and where.
Right, right. Well, you don't have to worry about somebody being there late for the gig or being there late for the recording of the, at the studio and things like that. Obviously, there's pros and cons.
Well, all of the responsibility falls to me.
Right.
So as the primary, I have to make the bookings and I have to decide this and that. They can just show up and play.
Right, right, yeah.
So the responsibility is great because
yeah.
I get all the accolades if there's any.
Right.
I also get the blame if there's things that go wrong.
That's
double-edged sword.
Yeah, yes, it is, yeah.
This next song is called Completely. It was off the first album I did, Hand Me Down Soul. Came out in 2015, I think it was. And a weird story behind this one is I had gone to see Colin Hay, and I always wanted to be a songwriter. I always wanted to give it a shot. And I'd written songs in school and as a high schooler, and thrash metal or whatever you want to call it. But I wanted to write songs, and I kept trying, and they all came out like stuff to try to impress people. And I realized that wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I had seen Colin Hay, and his songs were so simple and direct and to the point. So I said, that's what I want to do. So I went home, and I wrote this song Completely. But I wasn't fully developed as a songwriter. I don't know if you ever get that way, but you're always striving to get there. But I couldn't do it in the first person. I had to do it the I, or I had to do it in he and she and we. I couldn't do it in the I and me. So that's where this came from. It's called Completely. She seems to feel like she's never told him how she felt, and she's loved him before. He seems to feel like he's never told her how he felt, and now he's walking out the door. Why not take the time to say what's on your mind? Be completely honest. It's easier than it seems to be, but never at the time to give yourself away completely. Come any faster than they do, and they seem to stay so briefly. It's way too easy to hurt the ones you love, than to keep them in your heart completely. Why not take the time to say what's on your mind? Be completely honest. It's easier than it seems to be, but never at the time. Give yourself away completely. Why not take the time to say what's on your mind? Be completely honest. It's easier than it seems to be, but never at the time. this next song is Break Your Heart from the album Fade, the newest one that came out. And it's really my attempt at a Ronnie Spector type song or a 60s song. I grew up with that kind of in my head as a kid. And this is my attempt at it. It's really, like most of my songs, all sad. I don't write happy songs. I don't have it in me. Not that I'm an unhappy person, mind you. I just don't have that in me to write happy songs. In fact, when I put out new songs or I play them for my wife, she just keeps saying, like, do we need to get counseling? I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's just these are the types of songs that I'm happiest writing, which is kind of a weird thing. Anyways, it's called Break Your Heart. Slow down now, turn this around, before it goes off the rails. Is it late now? I still I love you, that's nothing new. But is it enough before we're through? It happens quite a bit these days. It happens all the time. You would do the same, but I'll take the blame. I'll break your heart before you break mine. Wanted to know, what did I know? What will ever change? We've been here before. I'll kiss you goodnight, pretend it's alright, then go out on my own, leave you alone. It happens quite a bit these days. It happens all the time. You will do the same, but I'll take the blame. I'll break your heart before you break mine. I'll break your heart before you break mine. All right, so this next one's called Fade, and it's the title track off of the most recent album. And again, in keeping with the theme of sad songs and everything, this one is kind of at the end of a relationship, you know it's going to end, and you just keep kind of driving forward. In fact, I think most of my songs fall into this category. That tells me something. But it is, that's that unfortunate part when you know it's not going to pan out. You wish it would. You would try to do everything you can, but it's not going to happen. It's called Fade. Never had it easy, see it to the end. Was that the promise you made me, or was it in my head? I know it won't be easy, you'll be glad you stayed. I'm asking you to stick around. I'm hoping you won't fade. I know we said some things that people shouldn't say. take it back, it still hurts just the same. No, it won't be easy. You'll be glad you stayed. I'm hoping you will stick around. I'm hoping you won't fade. Love is never easy. Wasn't supposed to be. Well, yes, it's something worth fighting for, even when you don't believe. But no, it won't be easy. You'll be glad you stayed. I'm hoping you will stick around. Hoping you won't fade.
Tell me, I know you have been keeping super busy.
Trying.
Playing gigs all over the place. Now, you pretty play like the tri-state area, pretty much?
I mean, it's
would you
mostly
say?
New Jersey.
Mostly, okay.
Up and down the state. I've gone into Pennsylvania a bit, into New York, into the city a bit.
Okay.
But I'll play anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I like to play.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and some of the shows are original shows.
Right.
A lot of the shows are cover shows. I mean, we said earlier, as you and I were talking,
Right.
you know, to play as often as that, and if you want to make money at it,
Right. You got to do both.
you got to play what the people paying you want to hear.
Right. Want to hear. Right.
But that's why I love doing shows like this, because to highlight original music, which is important to me.
It
it's
is.
a lot
It
of
really
fun,
is.
you know?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, while we were sitting here before, and I don't know if I should actually say this, is that I came up with an idea, and I'll throw it out to you later. You can let me know what you think. But I'm always my wheels are always spinning, you know, because I think about what I want to present to the audience, you know, and to change it up, you know. I don't always, because not only do I interview musicians and artists like that, but I'll do, you know, actors and actresses and models and, you know, painters actually. So I try to give a variety, and then I also actually do a lot for nonprofit organizations. We go out and we shoot, you know. But let's get back to, so if somebody wanted to hire you for a show, where do they contact you?
They could go to rickbarthnj.com.
Okay.
And, you know, there's the email through there. I have a Facebook page. I think it's Rick Barth Music.
Okay.
Twitter, Instagram, all the .coms that I can't remember. Not Snapchat, though. I don't understand that.
Okay.
But yeah, if they go to the website, they can email me through there. And, you know, at any of the gigs I'm at, just come up and talk to me.
Okay.
It's so much easier that way.
Now, let me go. This is one thing that I, you know, only for myself, because, so you have 2 albums that are out already.
That's correct.
What are the names of those albums?
So the first one was Hand Me Down Soul.
Hand Me Down, okay.
And that came out in 2015. And in 2019, Fade came out.
Fade, okay. And then you said you have like 4 more albums ready to...
I've written enough material now for about 4 more albums. So one of them will be with The Line, which is more rock-oriented type stuff.
Right.
Then another acoustic-y solo type album.
Okay.
I want to do a Christmas album, believe it or not.
No, I think that's great.
I've always wanted to write
That's going to be
songs.
cheery. I know that can't be.
No, actually, no. I'll give you the one song is called "Hardly Christmas," which is a ballady love song. The other one is called "It's Christmas Time and I Still Hate You."
Oh
no! Take it for a grain of salt.
That's great.
And I also wanted to do, you know, like a traditional Christmas song. So I did that. I'm working on that as well. And then it's another 2 albums of band material. So
wow.
The trick is time and money.
Right.
You know, mostly money.
Yes.
I mean, anybody that has recorded will tell you that unless you have capability in your own home or studio you own, it's very expensive.
Right.
And I don't have the kind of listenership that I can spend $8,000 on an album
Right.
and recoup that. And I'm not doing it necessarily to make money, but
Well,
I
it's
also
nice.
can't. I have 2 kids that like to eat 3 times a day. A little,
You'd like to feed them occasionally.
So I have to be obviously mindful of budget.
Right. Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I have a lot of material, and I'm always constantly writing. You said it before.
Right,
When you're not doing performances, you're usually at home doing other things to get that craft.
Now, okay, so when you're not doing that, what do you do during the day? You work? Do you have a full-time job?
It's a full-time grown-up job.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's what they call production planning. So it's really just inventory control type stuff, making sure that part A gets where part B needs to be. And
Right.
it's not one of those things that when you're a little kid, you say, hey, one day I want to grow up and be a planner. Just kind of
Fell into it.
Look back and 30 years goes by and you say, oh, okay, I guess that's what I did.
Yeah, well, you know what? But the thing is that the other thing I'm sure that determines, especially for a lot of musicians, is a job that is somewhat flexible with its hours because...
Well, I mean, I've had jobs that were, and I've had others that weren't, and you just have to adapt to... part of why I've been able to play the last few years as often as I do is because the job is flexible.
I was going to say.
So I can, we have off more days than not. So sometimes, I'm able to book earlier shows and all that. There's other times where it's like, I can't make it to a place till 7 o'clock.
Right.
That eliminates, especially with COVID, when everything kind of shifting earlier, eliminates a lot of the opportunity. So I'm kind of doing it while I can. Right. And then when it changes, it changes.
It changes. Yeah, because obviously COVID changed things for so many people.
Put a lot of stuff into perspective, even from the frequency or where I play, because I would never say no to playing. Right. And a lot of times I still don't. Right. But I'm much more selective of where I want. I'm only really playing the places now that I enjoy. Right. Because, being forced to stop playing because of COVID in the early stages of it, it forced me to say no. Right. There was no offers, really. I didn't have to say no. It was just no. There was nothing there. So it kind of broke that habit I had gotten into of get up and play, get up and play. And it was nice to be home, to spend evenings at home. Right. And then it was just like, I don't need to play everywhere. Right. To some of these places that weren't fun. Right. And these last few years, I think I've had the most fun I've been having doing this kind of stuff. Yeah. Because it's appreciated where I'm playing now.
Well, that makes sense to me. It's like when you're first starting out or you're younger, you're willing to put up with...
Your tolerance is a lot higher.
Right, exactly. Yes, yeah. So, you change. One of the things that I found with most of the artists that I had on the show is that being forced not to perform as much due to the COVID is that many of them took that time to get into the studio and start recording and getting, and I know many people that got albums completed and done. Yep.
Did a lot of writing during the time. And I did a lot of, as most people, like Facebook streams. Right. And trying to do that kind of stuff, just to put songs out there and to kind of keep it as to the front as I could. Well,
Ethel was telling me, and by the way, I do want to give a little shout out that awesome. Honestly, if it wasn't for Ethel, because Ethel handles all of the entertainment for the New Jersey State Fair.
She herds all the cats.
She and that's where I get a lot of my entertainment through Ethel. And I don't know if I'll say her last name. Some people are funny about that. But anyway, she really guides me and says, I think you really need to hear this person. And that's what she did with you. She recommended you highly to me.
I think I've known her 4 or 5 years now, something like that. And what she does is awesome. She brings up
she's amazing.
A lot of the entertainment, all of the entertainment at the fair. And it's not an easy job.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
she's a cool lady.
Yeah, no, she has it. Let me tell you, she's got that down. I sit there and then she'll come to me and she'll hand me several sheets. These are all the people, what days they're playing,
So you've never heard her complain. Oh, I did last year.
Well, you know what? Last year, I have to tell the audience this. I give musicians and artists so much credit because they do it because they love doing it. He made no money. He played that fair, and it had to have been the hottest day of the year. Literally, you were just sitting there, and we were drenched. And I cannot believe that nobody passed out, honestly, like you guys, because when you sing, even though it's not like you're jumping around, you're still moving. And we did have fans going on you, but that day was just,
that's, if you like what you're doing, if you love what you're doing,
yeah,
you don't realize it until before and after. But while you're doing it,
right.
it kind of goes out of your mind a little bit. Or
does.
I'll call that kind of stuff out. I think it's fun to say, this is extremely hot and this is terrible. Why am I doing this? But I do it in fun because that's the only way to deal with it.
Right. That's the only right. Yeah.
But if you love doing it, you'll do it. I've played in extreme heat, cold, to 2 people, to 2,000 people.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. No. It is interesting, when you enjoy what you're doing, it makes it all worthwhile, and especially when you have a wonderful crowd. Oh, there's nothing like it,
Yeah, I definitely play differently. I can play the same song exactly the same way, but the interaction with the crowd is the thing I appreciate most.
Absolutely, and of course when I did theater, when you had a great audience, it only brought you up to that level. I mean, you feed off of it. So
this one's unreleased, meaning it hasn't been put on an album yet, but it hopefully will be soon. Lots of songs to record, and this is definitely going to be, probably, sort of, kind of going to be on one of those albums. It's a song called This Again, and it's about running into somebody that you used to know in the most intimate of ways, as they say. And, I've been married now for 30 years consecutively, which is pretty good. And I had dated somebody before I got married, as most people tend to do. And I ran into her one day, and it reminded me that I made the right choice, that I was happy the way I went. My life turned out just great. But that little bit in your brain says, well what if? And so I wrote a song about it, and it goes like this. I wondered how this would feel. I never thought that it'd be real. And how are you here with me when you're still in my memory? I thought I'd know what I'd say, rehearsed it in a million ways. But all I should really do is turn and walk away from you. Damn you for making me want this again. Damn you for making me want this again. Together after all these years. I can't believe you're standing here. I've often thought all about where were you, how you turned out. But it can't happen anyway. What am I supposed to say? There's no one here, there's only you. What am I supposed to do? Damn you for making me want this again. Damn you for making me want this again. Want this again. Damn you for making me want this again. Damn you for making me want this again. Want this again. So this one is a new one. It's called Worthless. And again, it's a sad song, so it is what it is, I suppose. That's going to be like, I'm going to make a greatest hits album, and it's just going to be all sad stuff. It's just going to be terrible. I hope so. Sad sack. Just put a picture of a hobo in a bag. But, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. And it's not released yet. It's a brand new song. It's, I don't know, maybe couple weeks old at this point, and speaks for itself. It's how we all feel when the person we care about doesn't care about us. I don't remember ever feeling this bad. All it took something you had, or maybe it was something that you lacked. Either way, I never want you back. If I could put you back where I found you, 'cause I'm so tired of what is it you do. You make me feel so worthless. Are you really worth this? But I don't know what I should do. You make me feel so worthless. Do you do it on purpose, or am I just worthless to you? Felt like we had it all for so many years, but all I want is to hold you near. Or maybe I just needed someone to love, but either way, you were never enough. I need to be with somebody else, 'cause I'm so tired of living in hell. You make me feel so worthless. Are you really worth this? But I don't know what I should do. You make me feel so worthless. Do you do it on purpose? But all I don't know, am I worthless to you? worthless? Are you really worth this? But I don't know what I should do. You make me feel so worthless. Do you do it on purpose, or am I just worthless to you? Well, this song, I think every songwriter has their signature song, and I'd like to think this one's mine. It's called "Hand Me Down Soul." It's the title track off of the first album, and when I finished it, it was the one that said I can do songwriting. Like I can be a songwriter. Whether or not it's good is completely not up to me. I enjoy it. That's all that matters for me. But if other people like it, then that's the real measure, I guess. And enough people have said they enjoyed it. I've heard people cover it, which is like mind blowing to have somebody play a song that you've written and you say, first off, wow, thanks for doing it better than me. And secondly, it's an honor to have people do that, to hear them do that and their interpretation of it. So the point I'm getting at is this is like the signature song. I think this is my song that when people think of what I do, this is it. And it's about getting older and being fine with it. At least that's the takeaway I have from it. I guess everybody has their own interpretations. That's what it is. It's Hand Me Down Soul. When the sun comes up, I get to thinking. Been up all night, just tired and drinking. The answers to my questions are just out of reach. I know they're out there waiting, but I can't see. And you know I gotta get up and go. Sometimes I'm tired, feel uninspired. Feels like I'm wearing hand me down so, hand me down so. Life it takes its twists and turns. Think I've got it, then I learn. Done my best to make it through this life. Dealt with pain and heartbreak and all your lies. Ain't easy when I get feeling old. It's hard to keep going. The cards I am showing feels like I'm wearing hand me down so, hand me down so. Will it get better? I wonder. And if it doesn't, will it matter? Echo was cool. I don't regret the choices I'm leaving. Done the best with what I've been given. I look into the mirror, it looks back at me. It's easier than looking at things I can't see. But you know I gotta get up and go. When I feel tied down, I'll take a look around. I'll keep on wearing hand me down so, hand So this song is unreleased. I haven't put it out yet. And for a while there, when I was writing, everything was very, I don't want to say poppy, but more or less in that direction, and not so much in the country style that I was writing for a while. And there's a joke among songwriters or just people in general that there's like there's a chord progression that everybody uses to get just churn out songs. I said, well, I want to do the same thing. I want to write my own song using the 4 chords, and that's what this is. And it's called Falling. And surprise, surprise, sad song. It's a breakup song. Goes like this. Every now and then comes around again, feeling that we've done this before. So what's the use? There's another left to lose. Do we really want to do this anymore? And I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. I never thought you'd let me go. I keep on falling. No, you're not around. But all I ever do is hit the ground. And I keep on falling. No, you're never there. Help me find my way back here again. Tell me, do you care? I don't see it anywhere. Or is this just made up in my mind? You pull away from me, I pretend I didn't see. Or maybe you're the one who's blind. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. I never thought you'd let me go. I keep on falling.
The other thing that I wanted to get back to is, so the new albums, did you say you have names for those?
Yeah, so the album with the band will probably be called Incidents and Accidents. Because that's kind of how we kind of came together.
That's cute, I like that.
The solo album, one of them, let me try it again. The one with the band, the next one with the band will be called Simpler Times.
Okay.
Which is, again, more in the line of Fade and Hand-Me-Down Soul, like very Tom Petty, Eagle-ish type sounding.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm working on a double album, which is called Flannel.
Wow, Flannel,
yeah,
okay.
Because that seems to be what people know me for. But the first side, or the first album, if it was, going to be kind of like recuts of some of the stuff I've done. And,
okay.
Versions that people have done when they've covered my song. I like the way they did it.
Oh,
so I'm gonna
interesting.
do it the way
Okay,
they did it. And a couple of B-sides and things like that. And then the other album will be all new stuff.
Right. So, oh, wow.
A couple of ones I played here today will be on that. So, you know, that's always changing. And then I have another one called Worth Every Penny.
Oh, neat.
Which is like down the road. I'll probably release
that.
it in like 2045 or something.
That's a lot. And at least, though, you've already got your mindset. You know where you're going.
If I could get into a studio today,
right,
I'd put it all out tomorrow.
Yeah.
That would be my goal.
Wow. Now, do you find when you hit the studio, does it change anything for you?
I get that red light-itis.
Oh, do you? Okay.
When I'm playing live, I could make a mistake and kind of blow past it and not really.
Okay.
But when I see that red light come on, sometimes because I get in my own head and I want to do the best I can.
Right.
And I got to have the people I'm recording with, like, just play.
Right.
Don't even realize that we're doing it.
Right.
But as far as arrangements, no, not really. Especially maybe with the first album, because I really didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
It was kind of like somebody said, "Hey, you should make an album." I said, "Sure, why not?"
Right.
Just kind of figured that out as I went. But now I've been writing songs with the anticipation of recording them. So as I'm writing them, they're almost kind of like, okay, this is how I want this to be.
Right. How
the instrumentation might change a bit, where I might say, "Hey, you know what'd be fun?" Like with Fade, I said, "You know, I'd love to put pedal steel on this."
Right.
So, I had a friend of mine that was amazing. He said, absolutely, I'd love to do it.
Oh, interesting, okay.
Same thing with dobro, and so the instrumentation might have evolved as we were recording it.
As you were recording, right.
But the general sense of the song and the arrangement, the lyrics, most of that was kind of set in stone before I started.
Okay. It's funny that you were saying about that red light. It's kind of like when you were in school and you'd have a test and the teacher would wait till the minute hand got to 1 o'clock and then
it out.
Okay, start. And you're like, oh no, and everything goes out of your head. You're like, oh darn. But
and that's part of the reason when I do this next album with the band, I want to do it as live as possible. I don't want to sit down, okay, do your guitar part.
Right.
I want everybody to play together.
Right.
Because I think that'll bring out the better performance. And then go in and fix where you
Right. Well, that was interesting that you're mentioning that because, when the Beatles used to go into
put the mic in the center of the room.
Yeah, and they would all be there and they'd play.
Yep.
And then you see where a lot of studio work is done with people in separate rooms.
Separate cities or countries.
Right, exactly, which is kind of interesting. So I guess it really all boils down to what you feel most comfortable with.
Yeah.
And also whoever you have producing your album. Now, when you go into the studio, do you have a producer or are you the producer?
No, so the first album, it was a mutual friend, did the album, but we produced it together. But he was really the engineering side of it. He knew the buttons to push, and I still don't know that stuff very well. But we produced it together in that sense. And then in this last album, Fade, it was a different guy, a guy named Keith. And again, most of the production end of it was really stuff I was doing, but he was doing a lot of the engineering side of it. And then he did the mixing and all that. So I felt he helped me produce it.
Right.
But I don't have a producer per se that'll say, okay, now do this, now do that, now do this.
Right. It is interesting because people that I know that are producing, their producer used to be a musician, writer, singer, and I find it interesting to see how they bring things to the table. So what I want to do, though, is I want to tell everybody thank you for joining me today. And please, you can find any of our episodes on YouTube. Go to Donna's Happy Hour. And the other thing, please like and subscribe.
It's important.
Rick, again, where they can get in touch with you?
They can go to rickbarthnj.com, Facebook, which is Rick Barth Music. Instagram is the same, and I believe Twitter is the same as well.
Okay, great. And you can also go to Donna's Happy Hour Facebook. Thank you, and Rick, thank you again. All right, have a great day.
Bye.
Donna's Happy Hour is filmed on location at the Blue Arrow Farm.